Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues and friends, the topic of my presentation is public trust through stakeholder engagement. Nuclear energy and technology, despite its benefits in energy and medical applications, faces unique public acceptance challenges. Now, this topic has assumed importance in the recent past. Earlier, this was not a big question. Public acceptance was never thought of. Decisions were taken and then told to public. But in today's scenario, this is very important. Now, my presentation will cover what is trust, what is public trust, why is it important for nuclear industry, what is the role of the regulator in gaining public trust, and what are the characteristics of the regulator for gaining public trust, and what is stakeholder engagement. Now, let us see how it is defined by nuclear operating countries. What is trust? The OECD definition is a person's belief that another person or institution will act consistently with their expectations of positive behavior. There's another definition. This speaks to the trust that citizens place in their public officials and institutions. For regulators, it is inclusive and covers not only the general public, but also various stakeholders, interest groups, and others that need to trust and comply with the role and decisions of the regulator. Now, if you go to the any website and search for trust, it will tell you trust is earned when actions meet words. Trust is like glass. Once broken, it's hard to fix. And sorry works when a mistake is made, but not when trust is broken. This is also important. This is equally important to organizations. Similar type of statement can be made for the organizations also. Now, a technology succeeds only if it is economically viable, environmentally benign, and socially acceptable. This third part, the socially acceptable, is where that public trust comes. For a technology to be socially acceptable, it should be having the trust of the public, lawmakers, industry, and all other stakeholders. Atomic energy was introduced to the whole world by explosions on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The images of the mushroom clouds of these explosions still weigh heavily on the public mind. The fact is, if you talk to a layperson on the streets of India and ask them about atomic energy, their usual response is atom bomb. So they understand atomic energy is atom bomb. So most laypersons, I'm not talking about the universities or the educational institutes, but a layperson associates it with atom bomb. Now, let's come to why trust is important. It is a fundamental public safety. It is fundamental to public safety and is important and necessary requirement for successful nuclear energy regulation. Building trust can lower barriers to effective communication and better manage dissenting or differing voices or views. Now, nuclear regulators need to be able to rely on an established, creditable reputation, especially when making significant regulatory decisions and in the event of a crisis. Here, the public trust plays a very important role. It is also important for international collaboration, and a regulator's safety culture is an integral part to fulfilling his mandate and building public trust. Regulators also rely on public engagements and feedback to build this trust. Historical approach. If we go a few decades back, the usual procedure was the government or the institutions used to decide, announce, and then defend approach. That means that before embarking on a project, there was little that was done to gauge the public mind or acceptance. Decisions were made behind the closed doors with minimal public inputs. This led to public forming opinions based on unreliable sources rather than scientific facts. I have taken one example from an industry which is very akin to our industry, where safety is of paramount importance. That is the aviation industry. Boeing is an industry, which has been playing a pivotal role in aviation. They have built their image right from the 60s, and they were known to make very safe planes. But something happened in 2018 and 2019 beginning. They had two accidents. One is the Indonesian plane Lion Air Flight 610, which crashed on October 29, 2018. Another Ethiopian plane, after 5 months, crashed in March 10, 2019. And the reasons were attributed to a software fault of Boeing's MCA system, that is maneuvering characteristic augmentation system. Boeing was accused of misleading the federal aviation regulators, authorities, and its customers on the functions of the system. It came out that they never disclosed this system was introduced and the pilots were never trained. Again this year, they had another incident where a panel blowout mid-air happened. When the first incident happened, they promised that they will look into the issues and they will see to it that they will fix up these problems. Now, what Boeing now faces is not a technical fault or the re-engineering. They can do that. Rather, the company is up against a crisis of trust, erosion with its airline customers, regulators, government officials, and the flying public. So, with a few events, one event, the whole 40-50 years of trust has been broken, and it's very difficult to gain. Engineering changes can be done, that is easy, but trust building, again, is a very difficult process. And here also we can see how the trust has gone down after all this latest event. How US adults are responding 24 against 10, 31 against 14, and 42 against 16 business travelers. They are showing lack of trust in this company now. This is another public survey carried out by NEA OECD of shifting opinions after an event. You can see that in 2005 when this survey was carried out, and similarly after Fukushima, how the opinions have shifted. The less number of persons are positive about the safety of and importance of nuclear power electricity. So it only goes on to show that any event can really erode trust. There is another image which shows that if we ask them what is the most frightening catastrophic events in the past, the first event which comes to the mind is Chernobyl. In the morning session, it was shown that Bhopal gas tragedy was much more severe and deaths were instant. But nobody, the survey does not appear even. That may be because of the bias of the Europeans and the against India. They will not present their facts. But also it shows that how the European minds play on Chernobyl. So the Chernobyl incident is rated as the most severe. Although other events are equally damaging. Beirut blast was there last year. This is another survey of NEA. What is the strongest argument against nuclear power? The production of radioactive waste has been rated as the highest. That shows that when we do a campaigning or public trust engagements, this topic should be our priority, because this shows that public is more worried about the waste generated from the nuclear power. Now, coming to next survey, regarding the oversight of the impact of a facility that poses risk to the environment and neighboring population, Who do you think should control the environment and health impact outside the facility? You see, the public regulatory authorities are trusted the most. And you see, the operators are trusted only 8%. That means the public will have more trust when a regulator speaks to them. And this puts more burden on regulator to approach the public. Nuclear regulatory authorities are trusted more. Now coming to who is a stakeholder? Stakeholder is any group or individual who feels affected by an activity, either physically or emotionally. It includes statutory and non-statutory stakeholders. Key stakeholders I have shown here: media, universities, local communities, business and industry, employees, workers, suppliers, government, NGOs, and the list is endless. Coming to the key principles of trust building and stakeholder engagement are: building trust requires strategic investment in time and effort. Actually, it's a very slow process. It never comes that today we have one meeting, in a year it will come. The engagement has to be continuous. It is developed through reliable, responsible and fair actions. It can be strengthened by technical competence and high standards. Now it has to demonstrate accountability, which can be demonstrated through clear communication of activities and providing feedback on decisions. Third is transparent. The regulatory body has to be transparent, and transparency can be achieved by easy access to information. If a public is looking for some information, it should be made easily accessible to them. And sharing that information through multiple platforms. And the stakeholder engagement needs to be taken up at the early stage. Sometimes what happens is that project is already running through and or power plant is operating, and then something happens in the vicinity. Then we start interacting with them. It's that when need comes, we approach them. It should not be like this. Stakeholder needs to be taken when the project is conceived itself. Technological complexity. Now we sometimes feel that this nuclear power plant is very technical, evolved process, and how the public will understand it. This complexity cannot be used as an excuse to withhold the information. We should address both advantages and challenges openly when we interact with the public. It should be recognized that public opinion is often based on perception rather than scientific fact. Public mind works like that. Scientific facts will not easily go to them. It is only perception which needs to be changed. Now, coming to importance of stakeholder engagement, it may be noted that stakeholder engagement must remain flexible about who needs to be engaged, and it is also crucial for sustainable nuclear programs, for building public confidence. It is not necessarily aimed at achieving consensus. When we go to the public, it's not that they will agree with us, but at building understanding and trust. But it's enough if they understand that we are taking care of them. If a regulator is licensing, then most probably this is safe, like that. And different stakeholder groups, there will be different stakeholder groups which require different engagement methods. Same engagement method doesn't work. Successful stakeholder engagement is not just about following procedures, but about creating genuine dialogue and understanding between parties involved in a nuclear program. Now coming to the roles and responsibilities of a regulator in this business, it must maintain independence from the government body and industry also. Otherwise, public may not listen to us. Does not promote nuclear technologies. Regulator should not promote nuclear technologies, and it should focus on safety and security, establish rigorous stakeholder engagement programs, and we should provide unbiased information about the risks and safety. And we should also ensure transparency in decision making. Now there are certain, if any book is there on characteristics for an effective regulator, it brings out 5 characteristics of effective regulator. With this set of characteristics, not only make them independent, also trustworthy. One is, first characteristic we see, it's independent and objective. Independent and free from undue influence on decision making, demonstrating objectivity while balancing risk. Second characteristic is competent and credible, which has been touched upon in the morning also. That is, the regulator has the capability to fulfill its role and viewed as a credible source of information. Third characteristic of a regulator which needs is a open and transparent, which I have already covered, and it should also be honest and impartial. That is, information presented in a balanced, unbiased and factual manner, which being honest and upfront about uncertainties or gaps in knowledge, and should also be fair and engaged. Now, IAEA has identified 19 infrastructural issues, or they called it milestone approach for a new or expanding nuclear power program. And I have listed all this, but you see, all other things are related to actual operation of the facility. But there is one thing which got stakeholder engagement is also appearing, these 19 elements. That means it is a very, very important thing. Any nuclear thing has to be started. The stakeholder engagement should start right in the beginning. It is crucial for all organizations actually involved in nuclear programs. Effective engagement is necessary throughout the entire life cycle of a facility. This is as a IAEA in its publication on stakeholder engagement has provided an approach for characterizing the stakeholders based on their interest and influence. The regulatory body may devise its stakeholder engagement strategies based on this aspect. For example, there are certain stakeholders who are having high influence and high interest. You see, they need to be, these are such as industry involved in and professional associations. They need to be engaged in a continuous basis. And on the other hand, there are stakeholders who are having low interest as well as low influence. They need not be the focus of engagement of strategy. Now I come to AERB, what AERB has been doing in this. AERB's traditional public information systems, AERB has been publishing its annual report where all the information is provided. Whatever mandate is given to AERB, we provide all the information, right from the documentation or inspection or the findings or the events. Every aspect of the regulator is covered. And we also publish annual bulletins and newsletters. Every quarterly we are pressing. And we give press releases whenever they are necessary. And we have also carried out some press conferences or certain events or to share information. This is a traditional way what we have been doing so far. We are also given radio jingles on the safety aspects, and print advertisements have been given, and some featured articles have also been published in various magazines, bringing out safety aspects and what AERB does to ensure safety in the installations and the facilities and activities. Now coming to the new stakeholder engagement activities and initiatives taken by AERB. AERB has been holding NCRI, that is National Conference on Regulatory Interface, since 2017 to obtain feedback from its licensees. The objective of this conference is to foster an environment wherein the licensees, stakeholders and professional associations could interact, discuss and provide valuable feedback to AERB on various aspects related to nuclear radiation safety, regulatory requirements and practices worldwide, emerging trends in design and manufacturing, challenges in supply chain and effectiveness of quality assurance. Based on the feedback obtained during these programs, actions were identified for addressing the concerns. AERB has also been organizing awareness programs for the public living near the operating and under construction NPPs, reaching out to general public by participating in scientific events, organized by various associations and academic institutions. These are the recent programs in the few years, last 5-10 years, which we have initiated. AERB participated in the journalist workshop organized at by DAE at Kota and Kalpakkam, and also for the first time organized an awareness program for journalists for Mumbai metropolitan region. And this is the latest initiative which AERB has taken up. AERB, under the guidance of our chairman, initiated for the first time a stakeholder engagement program for the radiation facilities to obtain inputs on radiation safety guides which are under preparation. The inputs obtained during this program will be considered appropriately in our documentations. AERB has been carrying out awareness programs for low hazard facilities like ASRE. Whenever inspectors go for inspection, they also carry out Jagruta Abhiyan, which Bhardwaj Sahab mentioned. It is an awareness program coupled with the inspection program. AERB has also made awareness videos on radiation safety aspects in vernacular languages and made them available on YouTube for the benefit of the society. Now, in summary, I say that we have to ensure building public trust, and it is a fundamental to the regulatory programs. We need to establish and maintain trustworthy decision-making process and continuously strengthen safety culture. And we have to establish a known identity for ourselves as a regulator. And we need to make information available to the public as and when required and in an easy form. And we also have to put in place a regular engagement and consultation activities with the public and all the other stakeholders. And we need to use a very plain language to support our understanding. And also seek and enable feedback and welcome peer reviews. We need to encourage staff training and engagement, consultations and risk communications. For this, AERB has already given training to many people in communication. They were deputed to Delhi for particular courses. And in the end, establish and maintain sound crisis communication practices. With this, I thank you all for your patient listening. And this presentation has been held by to me by Shri Soman Sinha. Many inputs are made available by Shri Soman Sinha. Thank you very much.